is up, everybody? Good morning on Saturday, August 7th, 2021. We are back with some strong coffee and stronger bets here on Brewed Bets presented by Paled Horse Coffee. I am your host, BJ of Sports with BJ, and as always on Brewed Bets, we're joined by our co-host, JT. JT, how are we doing this morning?
Doing great. Ready to win some money. Back after a couple weeks off.
That's it. And that's what we're here to do, is to win as much money as possible, help people win some money with some picks and some insight. Sometimes it's hard to do all of the research. So that's what we're here for. We're here to dive deep and to get you some winners and bring them to you every Saturday morning. But we got to start how we always start. What's in the cup? I am on Pale Horse's Valhalla Vanilla with just a dash of French vanilla creamer. And I got to be honest with you, I thought the whiskey barrel aged coffee changed my life, but the Valhalla Vanilla with a little bit of creamer is just splendid on a rainy Saturday morning. Obviously, not rainy where JT's at, but drinking.
I am also drinking the vanilla with a little bit of 2% milk. Didn't have any creamer today. And then I have some. I didn't put it in this coffee, but summer drink. I'm big into butter pecan flavoring, and I made my own butter pecan sauce that I was thinking about putting in my coffee as a flavoring, but that's down in a jar in the fridge. I'll have to try that out and let you know how it is.
And Chef Thomas over there, I love it. Making my own coffee syrup. How about that? Well, we're going to dive into it here. We've got a lot going on. The Olympics are coming to an end. Baseball's in full swing. Golf is back at it. They never skip a beat, do they? And then we've also got the men, as of right now, won the gold medal. Beat France by, what was it, 5?
Yes.
4 or 5. So hopefully you did not take that big odds boost that came through from DraftKings yesterday, where you could get them, what was it, minus 20 for plus 300 or something like that.
Yeah, that
didn't seem
DraftKings throws those out to try to draw people in. I think it makes them some money.
It does, but I want to thank DraftKings for the free money. They gave me a free $10 bet yesterday, which I instantly put on the Chicago White Sox to win in a day game. So thank you for the free $15, and I will be using that towards today's bet. So let's jump into it. I have some unique things going on for me today, JT. I'm typically a 3-2-1 guy, but I saw something today. I'm going to call it my mega parlay. It's 3 games, but the odds are 1443 plus 1443 if this hits. And it's pretty simple. It's Tigers minus a 1.5, Royals on the money line, and the Rockies minus a 1.5. We'll get into that later and why I'm so confident in that. All that free money from DraftKings going directly on that parlay. Then I'm also going to take the Blue Jays. They got a doubleheader today in Canada, up there in Toronto with the Red Sox. I'm going to take them on the money line in game 1, not game 2 of the doubleheader.
They beat up on the Red Sox last night.
They did. It didn't even look like they were from the same league. But that happens sometimes in baseball, especially when you're traveling, over the pond, across the pond, however they say it. And then my final bet today is going to be Dodgers minus 1.5 on the run line. So 5 bets altogether, but 3 of them are tied in a parlay. We'll jump into why I like those picks here in a minute, but we're going to throw it over to JT to give us his best bets for this weekend.
We've got a lot of favorites on the run line this week. I'm also on that Rockies minus 1.5. I think that's a great bet by you. I'm interested to see what you have to say about the Tigers and the Royals, but I definitely agree with you about that Rockies pick. I'm also going White Sox minus 1.5 for probably some of the same reasons that you threw money on the White Sox yesterday. I'm on them today as well. And then tomorrow, I'm on the Reds money line against the Pirates. We'll get into, that's my team. I'll get into why I don't like them later on. And then 2 Olympic plays. I'm going USA women's basketball to bring home the gold as well as the men's. They're taking on Japan tonight, I believe at 10:30 tonight. And spreads minus 17.5. I still like it. I think they're going to blow them out. And then the last pick of the day, the men's marathon. I'm taking an underdog. This is my long shot pick of the day at plus 1,000 odds. I'm going Shora Katata, I think is how I say his name, and I'll get into why I like him here in a bit.
Yeah, your guess is as good as mine on that last name. I would have probably said it the exact same way, just reading right off the top. But yeah, let's jump back into it. So I did throw some interesting picks out there, and I always like to see. Listen, at the time that we do this show, our bets aren't always placed because anyone who follows this show can tell you most of the time one of us is going to have a bet or three that the other one talks us into or out of.
Hmm.
So I'm going to hit you with what I have going on, and I'm going to talk about each leg of this parlay, and you tell me if I've got a good thing going or if I'm wasting my money. Although it's a parlay, so it's probably wasting my money anyway. All right, so let's start with the first leg. Detroit -1.5 over the Indians. Nobody saw this coming, but the Tigers reasonably can claim that they're the second best team in the AL Central right now. Cleveland
Hmm.
certainly can't say that they are, right?
Yeah.
The Indians are 5-9 in their last 14 and aren't really scaring anybody. Detroit has quietly been coming on strong. They've risen to the middle of the pack in most of the offensive categories in the MLB. And while Tyler Alexander hasn't been great, the starter for the Indians, Eli Morgan, has been far worse this year. He's got a 6.75 ERA and has given up at least 3 earned runs in 7 of his 8 starts. He's a rookie, so I just don't think he's quite ready for the majors. And the only reason he's in the lineup right now in the rotation is because of injuries. And in
Hmm.
his one start against the Tigers earlier, he gave up 4 earned runs and 2 homers. You add a couple base runners on during those homers, it's a lot uglier than what the score indicated. So with those reasons, I like the Tigers to not beat the Indians per se. I like them to beat Eli Morgan.
Hmm.
So there's the first leg of that parlay. Second leg of that parlay, the Royals have done nothing but bite me all year long. All year long. But I'm liking them today. They did lose the opener of the series, but right before that, they had won 2 in a row over the White Sox. They've been playing pretty well recently. They're 10-6 in their last 16. And in addition to them being a bit better than most odds makers realize, I think I'm going to get an amazing value with Brad Keller on the mound.
Yeah.
He was a disaster early in the year, but he's finally setting in. In his 4 July starts, he had a 2.28 ERA. So that kind of backs up what we saw in 2020 when he gave us a glimpse of so much promise. He finished 2020 with a 2.47 ERA, and in the month of July, he had a 2.28. So I think it was only really a matter of time before he got his stuff together, and it looks like the month of July he did that. So now's the time to buy low on him for me, kind of like when we like to fade Walker Bueller. That I think that Keller can be that guy. The Cardinals, though, they've been pretty lethargic recently. They have lost 3 games in a row by at least 3 runs right before they won the opening game of
Hmm.
the series last night. So I'm going to fade Keller. I'm going to ride the Cardinals' lethargicism or lethargicness, whatever that word might be, and I'm going to roll with them. And then I'll talk a little bit about the Rockies. I'm going to wrap up the mega parlay, is what I'm calling it today. The Rockies -1.5 over the Marlins. This is a team that's been above 500 since June 13th, so it can't be written off into such the small sample size that we've had recently. But they just smoked Miami by a score of 14-2 Friday, right? So when you throw in the fact that the Marlins are starting Jesus Luzardo, who's only 23, I really can't believe that the Rockies are going to be plus money here, -1.5, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Luzardo. 13 appearances, 6 starts with Oakland this year before he got traded, 6.87 ERA. In his first starts with the Marlins after getting traded, he was really mediocre. It's a tough ballpark to pitch in. I think this is a recipe for disaster, and I think the Rockies walk away easily. I don't think it's going to quite be 14-2 like it was last night, but it's not going to be pretty. So
Yeah.
those are my 3 legs of the parlay. Before I get into my final 2, what do you like there? Did I sway you that I might know what I'm talking about this morning?
Yeah, I like that Royals pick that you gave. I love what's his name? The pitcher for the Royals. Um,
Allen? I'm sorry, what are we talking about?
the Royals pitcher that you mentioned. Why am I drawing a blank? Um,
Keller.
Brad Keller. Yes, he burned me earlier on in the season, and now that I haven't been betting on him, he's turned it on. So I like that he's figuring things out and he's back to 2020. I
Mhm.
want to give a little bit of uh, more more stats on the Rockies pick. Luzardo's given up a home run in each of his last 6 starts, and in that
Mm.
ballpark, tough place to walk into when you're already giving up the long ball. Because I mean, the Rockies are gonna hit it hard. They're gonna hit it out of the ballpark. They're the second best team in the league at OPS at home. They're batting 825 OPS. So that I think the Rockies are going to hit a few home runs against him, and really they're just a deadly team at home. So I like that Rockies pick. That's why I went with it as well.
Awesome. And yeah, I'm just going to throw in the Tigers there. I think the Tigers have a good matchup today, not in the
Mhm.
series, but today with who they have on the mound and who Cleveland is throwing out. I like that. Again, throw that parlay together. At the time of bet, it was plus 1443. So that means you place a $10 bet on this parlay and it hits, you win 143 bucks. $123 profit, $133 profit. You're welcome. So now let's move on to the next two picks. I'm taking the Blue Jays money line in game one. And this is an interesting storyline. Canadian pitcher Nick Pivetta gets to face Toronto and pitch in Canada for the first time this season. His 8-5 record's good, and he can miss some bats, but Pivetta has not had a ton of success against the Blue Jays specifically. Something about going back home. He's not doing too well. The Red Sox beat them with him on the hill twice last month, but he gave up 8 runs in 11 innings. The Red Sox just happened to outscore them. Lefty Robbie Ray has been the Blue Jays' most dominant starter this season. In 2 starts, he's held the Red Sox to just 1 earned run over 6 innings in a Blue Jays win. So Toronto has won 3 of his last 4 starts then. 7-inning games are getting tricky in terms of backing home favorites because you're supposed to get only 6 at bats, but that makes the run line a challenge. I do like the Blue Jays in game one, but with that short 7-inning game, remember with doubleheaders this year, it's really, really tricky to get that -1.5. So I'm going to go keep it simple, and I'm going to take the Blue Jays money line in game one of the doubleheader there. And then my final bet today, I'm going to take the Dodgers run line -1.5 against the Angels. And this is strictly a pitching thing. The Angels are going to send Jamie Barria to the mound. And while he's been impressive in his last 2 outings, his professional career has been filled with a ton of inconsistencies. Up and down between the major and minor leagues for the better part of 4 seasons. This is just going to be his 5th appearance this year. The Dodgers are hitting a strong 267 with an 879 OPS in August alone. And now they have Trey Turner in their lineup. He makes an already intimidating lineup even more of a challenge to pitch against, and Barria could have a lot of trouble facing them in their own ballpark. And then you talk about the bullpen. The Angels bullpen is extremely worrisome, so I'm going to back the Dodgers -1.5 on the run line and go with that and see if I can't get a win off of it.
I like it. I was close to putting that on my card, but it just fell off. I wanted to try to stay away from baseball as much as I could, just because I've been terrible at baseball over the last couple months. But
it's hard when it's one of the only main sports going on right now.
Yeah,
I would welcome college basketball. I would welcome football. I'm ready.
I'm ready. I know that we have our episodes on Tuesdays coming out, and just talking about football every week, it's getting me going.
Absolutely. Well, that's my bet. Those are my bets today. No 3-2-1 today because I see a mega parlay that I think has a really good chance of hitting, better than most, to quote the late Learn Lundqvist. But we'll throw it back out to JT for his best bets this weekend. What are we hitting with?
So I'll start off with White Sox -1.5. Carlos Rodon, I'm big on him. I think he's a great pitcher. He's got beaten up to his last few starts, but when I looked into it, I think you get a little bit of value here. He's gave up 2 home runs in each of his last 2 starts. But when you look at that Cubs lineup, what scares you about them hitting the ball out of the ballpark? Nothing. They traded everybody away that had any sort of power. So I think this is his bounce back game to kind of get back on track and get ready as we approach the end of the season. And the White Sox are easily in the lead of their division. So he's got to get back on track and be one of their best pitchers come playoff time. And if he even just pitches a little bit better, maybe gives up 2 runs, I think that's enough for the White Sox going up against Adbert Alzolay. He hasn't been good. He's kind of that end of the line starter for them that they just needed to fill a spot. So I think the White Sox can beat up on him, and you get good value here. A White Sox team that's been pretty good lately at pretty much almost plus money.
Yeah.
And then we already got in the Rockies pick, great home favorite today that I like. And then the last baseball pick is Reds money line tomorrow going up against the Pirates. The Pirates have been terrible at Great American Ballpark, not only this year, but really for the last 5 years or so. In the games this year, they have not won against the Reds at Great American Ballpark, and they've been outscored 51-17. And then I was looking between Saturday and Sunday, which game I like more. I like Tyler Mahle as a pitcher better than, I don't have it written down here, whoever was going on Saturday. I like Mahle a little bit better. He pitched against the Pirates one time earlier this year, gave up 1 run over 6 innings and struck out 7. So I think if he can put up another decent performance like that, the Reds got 10 runs last night. I don't think they're going to need that many today, but even if they get to 4 or 5, I think this is an easy money line win. So I hate going against the Pirates. I wish that I could see them win a little more often, but I know that team better than most people. They're not that good.
It's true. It's always bad when your best bet is against your favorite team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I mean, hey, that's a solid synopsis. I mean, if you're going with those 2 options on the mound and you like that game and you're going to be watching it anyway because your team's playing, I like the Reds money line on that too.
Yep. So we'll jump over to the Olympics. I had a tough time. I was looking through everything, but the Olympics mainly started, most of the events started before we started recording today. But I found 2 that I like. USA women's basketball minus 17.5. They tip off later tonight. I think we can all agree that Team USA is going to win this with ease. They have dominated really the whole tournament. They beat Japan in group play by 17, and they were playing a much different style of basketball in group play than they have in the knockout round. They were kind of just coasting through things. They have a few older players on their team. Diana Taurasi, this is probably her last Olympics. She was kind of she was on a minutes restriction there in group play as they just tried to get through it, and they still won all their games, but it wasn't by as many points. I think they ramp it up in this one, and they beat them pretty easily. Japan's tallest player is 6'1". That would make her the 7th tallest player on the United States team. So I think that along with Diana Taurasi trying to have a big last game, I think they throw it inside to Griner and early and often score a bunch of points in the paint, and they get a big win by 20 plus. And then my last one is an upset pick for anybody that follows along with marathons. I do not, but I was reading about them today. Eliud Kipchoge is probably, from what I read, he's probably the greatest marathoner of all time. He has a bunch of world records. He has a previous gold medal in the marathon. He's looking to become only the 3rd person to win the marathon twice. The last person to do it was in 1980, and that was a big part of the German doping scandal back in the 70s and 80s. So it doesn't happen very often. He's 36 years old, and he's a huge favorite at minus 225. But he lost his most recent major marathon in London last year. I'm going to take a chance and take the kid that beat him in that race. 25-year-old Shora Katata won not only the London Marathon in 2020, but he won the 35K at the Ethiopian Trials. So from doing my research, the Olympic marathon is always very difficult because it's extremely hot, a lot hotter than all the other marathons. I think that could tire some people out. I'm going to trust the young legs, the 25-year-old, and at plus 1,000 odds, I've got to take a chance on that. $10 to win 100. Give me that all day long.
Absolutely. It's only logical, right?
Yeah, you can't take a heavy favorite in something like a marathon that like anything could happen. It's such a long race that I just don't like a 36-year-old at that big of a favorite.
Absolutely. And when you look at it, the USA women's basketball triggered a thought in my mind because I typically stay away from women's basketball when it's here in America. We're talking college now because either it's one or the other in college basketball with women. Either it's like a 2-point buzzer beater or it's like a 30-point blowout. Mm-hmm. And I think the reason for that is because you're taking all the talent in our country and spreading it across all these major universities, right? Yeah. So the talent disparagement is greater. Now we're taking all the best women in our country, in our entire country, and putting them against every other country in the world. And I don't think people really understand how far ahead. There was a lot to be said about the rest of the world catching up to the United States men's team.
Mm-hmm.
No one is even in the same atmosphere as the United States when it comes to women's basketball.
Yeah.
And so in this particular, I don't think 17.5 is enough unless I can see them getting out to like a 25-30 point lead and taking it easy in the first half. And maybe Japan creeps back in, but then like you said, their tallest player would be the 7th tallest player on our team.
Mm-hmm.
We can just bully them all day long. I think there's going to be a lot of issues on the glass for Japan. I think there's going to be a lot of putback opportunities because of that. And it means a lot of kick out threes. And anytime you got Diana Taurasi on a team, you know that kick out three is just about guaranteed money.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, great pick there. I'm surprised it was so low, but being as they beat them by 17 in group play, I get the point behind the 17.5. So all right, well, that's all the bets for today. Let's wrap this back up and go. We're going to have JT. He's got White Sox -1.5, Rockies -1.5, the Reds on the money line Sunday. Keep that in mind, folks. Sunday, we're going to take the women's basketball, United States in the gold medal match -17.5. Shura Katada from the men's marathon, trying to get some value there at +1,000. $10 bet wins you 100. Who knows? He might pull it off. 3-game mega parlay, mega parlay, plus 1,443. My dog did not like that at all. She shot up so fast. But 1,443, a $10 bet wins you $143 here. And that's going to be the Tigers -1.5, Royals on the money line, and Rockies -1.5. You hit that, it's a good day. Take your wife out somewhere nice, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whoever. Spoils to, what is it? To the victor go the spoils.
Yeah,
this could be one of those opportunities. And then a couple of bets on the side, just because 3 of my bets are tied up into the parlay. I'm going to take the Blue Jays on the money line in game 1 of the doubleheader, and I'm going to take the Dodgers -1.5. Did we miss anything?
No, but we've been getting into college win totals on Tuesdays. Just as a little bit of a bonus pick, I just want to give out Jaguars. I believe their win total is 5.5. Hammer that over. I believe in Trevor Lawrence. I think he's going to turn this thing around quick. So a little bonus NFL pick. Take the Jaguars for a future.
Apparently, there might be some debate on whether or not he's going to get the start. Gardner Minshew's been giving him a run for his money.
Yeah, I think
Gardner Minshew hasn't taken a poop in 3 months.
Yeah, he said he doesn't want to be number 2.
That's it.
I love that mentality, but I think Lawrence ends up winning the job, and I think he can turn that thing around, and they can win some games.
I think you have to. Look, competition is healthy, and I think you got to look, I love Gardner Minshew. Minshew Mania hit me hard like it was COVID. But you have to take perspective. If Gardner Minshew, 2 years in the league now, right? This is his third.
Yep.
This is his third offseason. Second, I don't know what they were able to accomplish last year. And he's in a tough quarterback battle with a rookie, even though it is Trevor Lawrence. The fact that he's in a tough quarterback battle for the number 1 spot with a rookie should tell you everything you need to know about Gardner Minshew's ceiling. Loved him at East Carolina. Love watching him play. Love watching him play for the Jaguars. I loved everything about Minshew Mania. I love the cutoff jeans. I love all of it. But I don't think you can justify starting him over Trevor Lawrence. But the good news is, with JT's pick of hammering the over 5 wins, that division is going to be woeful down there in the AFC South, because you've got Houston's in that division. You've got Jacksonville in that division. I'm blanking. Houston, Jacksonville,
Tennessee.
It's going to be tough, but Tennessee, and then the Ravens are not in that division. They're in the AFC North.
No, you already named 3, right?
Yeah.
There's 4 teams per division, so yeah, that's all of them.
We've only got 3. We've only got 3 though. We got the Jaguars, we've got the Texans, and we got the Titans. Who's the 4th in that division?
It's early, people. Don't get too mad at us.
The brains don't work quite as fast. If this was an evening podcast, we would be all over it. AFC South. I'm really blanking.
So Houston, Indy, Jacksonville, Tennessee.
Indianapolis. We
Yeah.
don't. Carson Wentz is down. Carson Wentz is out. So really, it's Tennessee and everybody else in that division right now, right?
Hmm.
So the good news about taking that over 5, hopefully they can get 3 wins in the division. And then if something does happen to Trevor Lawrence, Minshew Mania is right behind him. So
Yep.
it's not much of a drop off. So I love that pick. And we're going to get into more. Check us out on Team Total Tuesdays. That's a new episode that gets released every single Tuesday. We talk about the top 5 conferences and the win totals for the teams in those 5 conferences. We've already done the SEC. We've already done the ACC this past week. So this Tuesday's release of Team Total Tuesdays will be the Big 12. And that is Team Total Tuesdays presented by Sports Shift Media and Brewed Bets. We have been Brewed Bets here on a Saturday morning presented by Pale Horse Coffee. Don't forget to use promo code Brewed Bets at checkout. You can do that for delivery or order online to pick up in store. That promo code will get you 10% off. We have had another great Saturday morning of strong coffee and stronger bets here on Brewed Bets. We appreciate those of y'all that have joined us. I know it's hard to get up early with us, but we appreciate you when you do. Have a great Saturday. Bet responsibly. If you need help, 1-800-GAMBLER. They're always there to talk with you. For JT, I'm BJ of Sports with BJ. We'll see y'all next Saturday.